Warfare is now in theaters, directed by Alex Garland and co-directed by Ray Mendoza. This is the fourth Alex Garland movie, I think. His first time with a co-director, Ray Mendoza, who is actually based on one of the characters in the movie. This movie is very simple. I'll read the letterbox description just to make it easy. Platoon of American Navy SEALs on a surveillance mission gone wrong. Boots on the ground story of modern warfare and brotherhood told in real time and based on the memory of the people who lived it. And that is quite accurate, I would say. This is a grueling movie. Not fun, quite punishing, quite upsetting. One of the best made movies of this year, I'd say. I know the list is quite small in terms of good movies this year, but this is one of them. There's a lot to think about with this movie. A lot of thoughts that I have, different ways to look at this. Coming off the heels of Civil War, which was Alex Garland's last movie, came out last year. There were a lot of questions being asked about, why he's making this. What are the politics behind it? What is it saying about war movies or anti-war movies? And just like the state of political discourse, I guess. And this movie is less of that. So I guess for context, I really loved Civil War. I thought it was very good. Even though it's not like outright in its politics, I think it's quite clear where the movie and Alex are landing on his views of America specifically, I guess, but the world in general. And I don't think Warfare is much different, but it's interesting because this movie doesn't even offer any political stance at all, because it's just not about that. This movie is entirely apolitical on its surface level. And if you look at this movie and this story, and you don't think that this is an anti-war movie, I think that's just quite silly. Now, if this movie isn't really for you, I get it. I get it. If you don't enjoy watching this type of stuff, and I'm not saying I enjoyed watching it, but this is really, really well-made stuff here going on. I have seen the term war fetish thrown around with Garland specifically, especially coming off of Civil War and other anti-war / war or whatever movies that appear more interested in glorifying the war or the actions that soldiers take. They're more interested in glorifying it and making it seem very heroic and brave rather than, tragic or evil, I suppose. And Garland, I think, teeters sometimes on the fetishism of war, but it's clear that he enjoys filming these scenes. The lingo, the repetition, the communication of all the things that the soldiers do. It's very impressive. It's very well done, and it's very well made. I don't think you can argue against that. And if that's not for you, then it's just not for you. I don't even think it's a political thing. You either are going to like this movie because of how simple it is, and you're going to enjoy talking about it afterwards. This is a 7 out of 10 movie for me, and this is easily the most I've thought about a movie this year. So you're either going to land on my camp, or you're probably going to think I don't know, this isn't for me. I think it's gross that this movie exists. I don't like seeing, American soldiers doing this in the early 2000s in the Iraq War. There's already enough moral quandaries as it is. Maybe we just don't need to tell stories like these. But in a weird way, and this is where I think I've landed when it comes to this, movies, at least for me, some of my favorite movies are people being good at their jobs, which is very random and maybe doesn't make a ton of sense. But when people are good at their procedural jobs, some of my favorite movies: Spotlight, Captain Phillips, The Insider, Moneyball. All of these movies are about one guy or people being really, really good at what they're doing. I mean, Al Pacino, even in The Insider, says it, like, you know, what did you expect from normal people? Like, when he's clearly being awesome at his job in the movie. It's an incredibly satisfying thing to watch, and that way, this movie to me becomes not satisfying, but like very watchable. In that, like, obviously, I know everything going on is upsetting, but the way that these actors are portraying this real story is they are good at their job. Like, just that through line is enough for it to work for me. And the only way that this is different is that this is a real story, and you know, the acting of Captain Phillips, while Captain Phillips is a real event, or Spotlight was real, like, you know, stuff like that is more acted. There's more story. We get like Tom Hanks' backstory in that movie. We get to see Rachel McAdams' home life in Spotlight. We get to see stuff like that. This like 95-minute movie, Warfare, is just, we're in the mission. These guys are in a house in Iraq. Stuff goes wrong. They have to spend, you know, 80 minutes escaping, and then they escape. Then there's like one and a half scenes after that, and then the movie is out. Done. There's no through line. There is only the ability for Garland and the script and Mendoza to avoid any thought-provoking discussion, because of the simple through line of the movie is just nothing matters except surviving and getting out of the situation. Let's not even think about your takes, your political thoughts. Get that out of here for another movie or for another time. And I think that's fine. I think a movie's allowed to be like that because we're allowed to discuss the movie afterwards and what it means. But I don't think you can say, because, I mean, it's in the script. Like, Mendoza is a co-director on this because this is his story. They just don't, it's never talked about. This movie's all based on the memories of the people that were there. No one's ever like, well, dang, you know, we're here for oil, or, you know, thank God Bush sent me, or why the heck did Bush send me, or something. Like, there's just none of that. Zero. It doesn't happen. They're just there. They're doing their mission. And that's it. There's bonds, and there's brotherhood, and there's some jabs at each other that are comedic, and, you know, as comedic as it can be in a situation like that. So it's not like it's false. It's very real. It's more real than, you know, some other war movies that we've gotten in the past, where like it almost feels like thrown in there and shoved in there. Like, yeah, we have to lighten the mood a little bit with some of these guys' backstories or some of their jokes. Like, we don't know any of their backstories. I don't even know any of their names outside of Ray Mendoza is Ray. Like, I don't think I could tell you any of their names. We don't find out their last names. We don't know their family situations. Like, it's a unique thing to not know any of that stuff. And I think it helps with the whole point of the story, which is like, Alex Garland is saying, we do not need a typical political war movie, anti-war movie. Like, this is a story of survival. Bottom line, whether you agree or disagree with the politics of it all, like, that's for later. That's not for this movie. It just isn't. That being said, the movie wraps up. So, light spoilers, I suppose, is, you know, these guys are trapped in this house in Iraq that they commandeer and take over from this family, and things happen. Chaos ensues. They do eventually escape. And there is a lingering shot that's like maybe 2 minutes long of the family reclaiming the house, more or less. They leave their bedroom. They look around at the smoke and the debris and the blood, and it's eerily quiet. Very, very off-putting. This movie is loud and chaotic for most of the 90-some minutes, and at the end, it's dead silent except for this family walking around their house, trying to make sure everyone is gone. There's no one else is around. And they walk outside, and there's this sense of dread and like this lingering, like, oh, this is what happens like when soldiers leave in a situation like this. Like, they just left, and did they ever come back? Did anyone ever come back? Doesn't seem like it. Like, That's just it. Like, the movie ends specifically on these Iraq civilians to make a point. Like, there's clearly a point being made at the end of this movie by Garland that's like, this is the real toll of the war, almost, not to discredit or play down any soldiers, soldiers' lives that were taken or lives that were ruined or destroyed or altered, like, but these civilians caught in this. Like, it's very pointed that Garland ends the movie like this to show that, like, the real toll of this war, or at least the one that's unintended, I suppose, is stuff like this, where you just get this shot of silence and these civilians just looking around being like, well, what now? Like, it's almost like that's our point of view too. And now, I'm certainly not trying to compare, being in a war zone as a civilian to someone sitting in a comfy ass AC cooled movie theater, but POV wise, that is kind of how the movie ends. Is that's our point of view, is of these civilians. It's very pointed. It's very powerful, and I think it really, really works. Yeah, this movie really, really got me thinking. I think it's one of the most thought provoking movies I've seen in a while. And I really liked it too. You can't deny how well made it is. And if you have a chance to see this in a theater, I think you have to. I think you watching this at home on your phone with bad sound system or whatever, like, it's just not going to do it justice. Seeing this in a theater is a must see from me. And if you like Saving Private Ryan or Black Hawk Down or whatever, like, yeah, you're probably going to like this movie. Maybe you'll find it a little more upsetting, a little harder to watch, but if you're not a war movie person, this movie is not for you. You're not going to like it. You just aren't. It's a very unique piece of art, I think. There's really not a movie like this, because towards the end of maybe last year or 2 years ago, I was very over war movies, with All Quiet on the Western Front, 1917. I was just like, I get it, man. I think I'm just done with war movies. I think I was checked out. I really was. And then Civil War happened, which maybe because it's a fictional story, I was more bought in on it, and I really liked that movie and how it was done. And then there's this one, which in theory, this movie should not work for me. Like, this is the exact type of movie that I would say, like, I'm out on. A real life event where it's just a tough hang, to put it lightly. And it got me. This worked. It's incredibly well made. I think the script as well is pretty tight. Again, this is all just based on actual soldiers' memories that were there, and it's very well done. I can't deny it. So yeah, that's my review of Warfare. I could probably go on for like another hour or so, but it's just me talking, and I don't want to bore anyone. So I guess we'll just leave it at that. Go see Warfare. I recommend it if you can tolerate it. For sure, go see it. But that's it. That's Warfare. Please like, comment, subscribe, yada yada yada. More reviews to come. I don't even know what. Oh, Sinners is coming soon, so we'll be seeing that as soon as we can. Very excited for Sinners. Gonna be great stuff from Mr. Coogler. Yeah. Other than that, I'll see you in the next review. Goodbye.